Hi guys, welcome back to the Codefreak channel. Freak out as you code. So we'll be looking at all the questions and trying to get the answers for all the questions in the 11th tutorial, 13th tutorial and the 14th tutorial. So the 11th tutorial was about the nested loops. The 13th tutorial was about the functions, and 14th also was about the functions but with respect to the objects and all. So we will try to solve all of the questions here. So the first question here is, do the example 2 in the video using the while loop. So the example 2 was to find a particular string, to find out how many times this particular string comes in this particular string. How many times string 2 comes in string 1. So if you have to just convert it to while loop, it's very simple. So I'll just first of all copy this whole thing because I don't want to waste your time. I hope you guys have practiced this already. So let's do that. Let me just paste it here. Okay, so how do you make this while loop? It's very simple. Just do the initializations in the beginning. So let's do the I equal to 0 here itself, and then j equal to 0 here itself, and then count is already done. So now you can actually just remove this and make for while. So let me do the modifications, and then I plus plus, you have to take the I plus plus and put it at the end, right? That's how it works. So that's it. So this while is converted, this first for is converted to while. Now let's convert the next for to while. So while, I didn't want you to do it this way, I wanted you to type out the whole code, but I'm doing it like this because I just wanted to finish it fast also. Okay, so I'll delete this, and the end of the loop, where is the end of this loop? Okay, here it is there. So here you can do plus plus j. Yeah, that's fine, right? And I think that's it. We are done with the whole thing. Now this is how you change from for loop to while loop. It's very easy. Even if there are some errors also, I think you can do it on your own. I'm not going to spend any more time on this particular example. So let's just comment it out, and let's go to the second one. So the second one says, given an array of numbers, sort it in the ascending order. So I have created an array here, and I have put I, j and small. So small is going to store the index of the smallest element. Okay, so how are we going to do this? So we'll find the smallest element here, which is 0, and we'll exchange 0 with the first position. Then we'll find the smallest next smallest element here. So 2 would have come here, right? So we'll find the next smallest element here, which is 1, and we'll exchange 4 and 1. Then we'll start from here, we'll find the next smallest element here, which will be 2, and we'll get it here. So that's the plan, right? So now let's go ahead and do it. So let's do for I equal to 0. So this is going to be for iterating over all of them. So let's do that. I equal to 0, I less than array dot length, okay, and then plus plus I, right? So now we need one more loop. So j equal to I. So we'll start from the I. J less than array dot length and plus plus j. So this should be a good way. So we have to put the small variable, right? So how will we do that? We'll put small, we'll equate small to whatever is the I value right now. So it's going to go for the index, right? So now what we can do is, if array of a small is greater than array of j, okay, then we want to exchange these two variables. No, we won't exchange these two variables. We'll assign j or to small. So we'll just change the index as of now. Okay, so the index. Once all of them have been done, we want to change the placements. For example, here you have found that 0 is the smallest, or the index of 0, so which is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 6 is the index here. So small will be 6 by the end of this iteration as such. So spelling is wrong. Okay, so you will want to exchange these two numbers. So how do you exchange these two numbers? It's kind of really simple. So we'll create a temporary variable. So temp, first you have to create a temporary variable, and then you will assign array of small to that temporary variable. All right, so now what you can do, you can take array of small, and then you can assign the array of what is the one you want to exchange it with. You want to exchange it with I, right? So you can assign whatever is there in I place to array of small, and then you can do array of I. You can store temp, I mean whatever is there in temp. I'll give you an example. So say you want to exchange this number and this. So right now small will contain, I said 6, right? And I is 0. So temp, what is temp going to store? Temp is going to store array of small, which is 0. All right, so now you're going to put 2 in array of small, which is 6th place here, which is in this place. So right now 2 is here, and temporary is storing 0. So now you're taking that 0 which is there in the temp variable and putting it in the ith position, which is 0. So you have 0 here and 2 here. So that's how you have exchanged these two numbers, right? So now let's go ahead and then just print out these, the full array basically. Yeah, so I hope it's right. See, you have got an array. Nice, right? So you can do even descending order also when you think it's fine, right? So that's something which you can try out on your own. So now let's go and do the next example. Question. So create a 2D array of a 3x3 matrix and print it out. So let's create a 2D array. It's very simple, array 2D. Let's give it a name like this, okay? And then you want a 2D array, right? So you need this, and then you need something like that. Then maybe 1, 2, 3. So 3x3 matrix. So this is gonna be a 3x3 matrix. I think that should be fine. Put a semicolon here. So I want to make it look nice for you guys, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that should be fine. So we have created a matrix here, 3x3 2D matrix, which is a 3x3 matrix, which has 3 rows and 3 columns, 3 columns and 3 rows. Okay, so that's how we create it. And you want to print the inverse. Okay, you want to just print it out first. So that's very simple. So we'll do that. So for, you have to create a variable, let I equal to 0, and then you want to do maybe I less than array 2D dot length, okay, and then plus plus I. Then you need a one more for loop. So for, actually I'm just going to copy this same thing because why waste time. You can copy it here, right? And then maybe you can just give it a tab so that that looks good. You can create a variable called j here, and I'll show you why we are doing it this way. So when you see it, actually you will be flabbergasted. This is how you actually iterate to it through 2D array. So you can do console dot log a of I comma j. This is the error. That was fine, right? Reference A is not defined. Okay, it should have been array 2D. I'm sorry. Yeah, that is there. Yeah, I guess, see, you got all the elements one after the other. So I'll show you one magic right now. So you want to see what is the value of I and j, right? So I can put I here and j here. So now see this. This looks awesome, man. So you have 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So first I is going to be all zeros, and j is going to go from 0 to 2, and then all ones, 0 to 2. Okay, so you can actually see the placements. The position of 5 is as such 1, 1. Okay, the position of 8 is 2, 1. Second row, then the column, first column. So you are having the 0 as the first row, right? So that is something which you have to keep in mind. So now if you want to print the inverse of this matrix, it's nothing but you just make this j, and then you just make this I. So you will print the inverse of this matrix. So inverse is basically making all the columns to rows or the rows to columns. So that's what happens. Your column, so first 1 4 7 came, then 2 5 6, 2 5 8, and then 3 6 9. So that's what you can see here, right? So that's it with respect to this. Now, so let me use the same matrix again. I'm going to take this same matrix which is there here, and we have to create two 3x3 matrices and store the sum and difference and the multiplication of products in separate of matrices, and you have to print it out. I'll just do it in the same matrix because I don't want to, yeah, I'll just do it in the same matrix. Yeah, that should look, it looks somewhat fine, right? So let's just place it properly. Maybe array, let me just call it array 1, okay, and then I'll just copy this and paste it again because we want two arrays. That's what it said. Both are the same arrays. So now if you want to add these two arrays, very simple. Again, you can just copy this code from here. I'll first uncomment it out because then it's easier to copy. I'll just copy it, paste it here. So how do you add both of these arrays? It's very simple. So you can do array 1 ij, just copy this part and delete this. We don't want this, right? And then we'll put a plus sign here. So if you want to store, you can create one more array 3 and then you can put equal to instead of console.log, and then later you can use the same thing and do that. I'm going to make it 3 because we know the size, we know the length, right? So I'll just make it 3 here and here. It'll be easy for all of the others also. So let me just do this also. See, okay, I should have done ij, then it would have been perfect, right? We are it as the each element, like 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 4 plus 4, like that. So that's what you can see here, right? So now let's do subtraction. So if you just want to do subtraction, you can just change this to minus. So yeah, so you should get all zeros, right? See, you got 9 zeros. Perfect. So now multiplication as such is little more tricky. I'll show you how to do that also, no problem. So you have to create another for loop. Multiplication with respect to matrices, if you don't know what it is, I guess you should just go and learn about it. If you don't want to learn about it, just skip this part and then go to the next question. So I don't mind doing that. Okay, so let's actually, you have to create one more for loop. I said that. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. So just let me do the required stuff. You have to make it k here. So let's make another variable called k, something like that. Yeah, all right. So let me create an array. Let me just call it array 3. That should be fine, right? So we can do it this way maybe. So array 3, array 3 of I and j plus equal to array 1 of I and k into, yeah, so array 2, array 2 of k comma, not comma, I mean kj. So you have made this possible, right? Console.log array 3 of I and j. So you will see the multiplication product of these two. Okay, the thing is you should put all of them as 0 in the beginning. So you initialize it to 0 either this way, or you can go through the loops. You can traverse through the thing and then you can make all of them 0. So that is important. So now you see, you'll get the answer. So this is the matrix multiplication product of this whole thing. Perfect. So now let's go on to the next set of questions. Create a function which takes 2 parameters and find the power of the number. So this is kind of a nice question. So let's create a function. It takes 2 parameters. So let's call the first parameter num and next parameter power, and then let's name the function to be power, pow. Okay, so I have to change this to exponent, maybe exp. I think that's fine, right? I'm putting shortcuts. Okay, so now number power exp. So how are you going to do it? You just make a for loop, or you can just use a while loop in this thing. It's easier. So you can do while exp. So if exp is greater than 0, basically it means, okay. Then what you can do is you can just multiply num with num and store it in a new variable. So let's store it in. Let's make a new variable. Let's call it result. Just make it res. Okay, so let's equate it to 1 first, yeah, because you're multiplying, and then res star equal to num, and then you can do minus minus, so that works, I guess. Since this video is going very long, what I did was I just stopped the video and I wrote off all the solutions so that I can just show you the solutions, and then maybe you can see that also. So as far as the solution goes with respect to the power, you have to do exp minus minus and remove that minus minus which you had put here. So then this works. So exponent will become from whatever, maybe if it's when it's 5, it's going to become maybe till 2 till 0, right? That's how you're going to do that. So if you want, you can check it out by using console.log. So power of 2,5, right? So yeah, you can see that you'll get an answer here. You got 32, which is perfect. Let's check out with one more example, which is 4,5. That's going to be a pretty big number. Yeah, it is 1024, right? And so that's how this works. So now let's look at the next question, which is create a function called fun with 2 parameters, which calls the above power function after incrementing both the parameters by 1. So I have done that here. So let's just uncomment this and then comment this one particular line. We don't want that, right? So I have created a function called fun with 2 parameters, num1, num2. Okay, and then I'm just using a return statement directly, and then I'm calling the power function. I'm doing prefix. This is a prefix increment, so I'm doing that for both the numbers. So when you do 4,3, actually it's going to be 5 to the power 4, so that should be 625, I guess. Oh no, this I've not saved it, so let me save it again. It should be 625. So that's what we got. So that's how you do this. So now let's go to the next question. So to create a function named Fibonacci. Okay, before we go to this question, let me just comment out these things. Yeah, so the question here is create a function named Fibonacci which prints the Fibonacci sequence till a number. So the Fibonacci sequence as such is very important, so you can Google it and search for it, or I'll just explain to you. So you start from 1 maybe, and then so this, for example, let's take 2. 2 is the sum of 1 plus 1. Let's take 8. 8 is the sum of 5 and 3. Let's take 21. 21 is the sum of 13 and 8. So all the numbers are basically the sum of the previous 2 numbers. So that's what you have to do here. So I've created a function here. Let me go through the function, and I've called the function also. So let me just go through it. Function Fibonacci, I've taken the limit basically here. Then we have 3 variables. So this is the first number, which is 1, second number, which is 1, then you have I for the iteration, and then you have T, which is the final number. Okay, the total, basically that was the idea there. So you use a while loop until num, so we'll keep decrementing num, so that will help us out, right? So no, we'll keep incrementing I, and so till it reaches the num. So that's what is the plan here, right? Then we add the first 2 numbers, okay, and then we put the second number in the first number and the total as the second number. So for that's for the next iteration, basically that's what you can see that, right? Then you do I plus plus, and then you do console.log t. So t is the final variable, right? Finally, so now let us do Fibonacci of maybe 5 first, and then let's look at it. So we'll get 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. I have left the 1 and 1. If you want to compensate for that, you can actually do num minus 2 here, and then you can first print out 1 and 1 and do those manipulations. So you can see you got this sequence, same sequence, right? So from 2 to 13. So maybe if you want maybe 20, first maybe not 20, 10 numbers. You can do even till million numbers, it will work out, but it's kind of a big code. So you can see the first 10 Fibonacci numbers. So now let's go ahead and look at the question, the single question which was there at the end of the 14th chapter related to the functions and the objects. It's a very simple one. I've not put many because I don't know why, but I've not done that. So let's look at the question. Create a simple calculator which takes two numbers using prompt. Let it add, subtract, multiply these two numbers and print them out. Make different functions for all of the above and do this by using the constructor called calculator. So I've created a function called calculator with a capital C, so it's going to become a constructor, right? And then you have this dot read. This is a function which is going to read A through the prompt and then read B using the prompt, okay? And then you have this dot add function which is going to add the numbers. So I've not made the other two. Let me just do that. I'll do it right now. You can just paste 2 times. So let's call this subtract, so or just sub. You should usually put the full names, so please do that. And then multiply. Okay, so you should put the full names and then change this accordingly. Minus A minus B and then this star. Okay, and then you can do the same thing here. Just do console.log, just copy it, and then you have to change this to subtract, right? And then this to multiply. So but I have not yeah, I have told you, right? So return this number of this dot a. Otherwise, if you don't do this, it's going to consider it as a string. It doesn't matter for addition part of it, because no, sorry, it doesn't matter for subtraction or multiplication. It will consider it as a number, but when it comes to the addition, it doesn't happen that way. If you want to, I'll show you also, that's no problem. So let's give in the two numbers, maybe 3 and 5. So here you are getting 8. Okay, let me just actually comment out the previous one, that's causing some kind of trouble, right? So let me just comment it out, and yeah, so now let me just save it and refresh it. And you will see only the 3 outputs. Okay, maybe again I have to give the inputs 3, 5. So you got 8 minus 2 and 12, 15. So that's what is the output, right? So if I was talking about removing this number, so if you want, I can show that. So you can leave the bracket. Yeah, there's one shortcut which you can use in case you want to do that. So just click on one place, then you click control. Okay, now you can delete all of them together. Perfect. Let me just save it and refresh it. Let's give 3 and 5, same numbers. So you have 35 here as a string. Okay, but for the other two, it converts it to a number. So just I wanted you to remember that also. So that's it for this video, guys. If you have watched it till here, come on, comment, like, share, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to do that if you're not a subscriber already. So that's it for this video, guys. Bye bye. Hope you enjoyed it.